Welcome to Better with Age, the show where time doesn't define us, it refines us. Let's get to our topic at hand. Just when you thought machines were taking over the job market, here come the seniors. According to Bloomberg.com, senior citizens are surpassing teenagers in the fast food job market. Restaurants are recruiting in senior centers and churches. Recruiters say older workers have soft skills, a friendly demeanor, and punctuality that is not seen in our younger generation. There are two powerful forces at hand here: a work labor shortage amongst the highest job market in almost 5 decades, and the propensity of longer living Americans to keep working, even part-time, to supplement often meager retirement savings. Between 2014 and 2024, the number of working Americans aged 65 to 74 is expected to grow 4.5%, while those aged 16 to 24 is expected to shrink 1.4%, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So ladies, I ask you, in retirement, do you see yourself working in fast food?
Well, I am a bit of a foodie, so I'm going to go with
Okay.
But I think really it depends upon the reason I'm working at that age, I think. Because one of the things that I did learn recently is that the average person working in fast food is making $9.09 per hour. So if I'm looking to make a whole lot of money, that may not be my choice.
Right.
But if I'm not, I think it sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see myself working fast food in retirement if there is a need, because I don't want to be strapped for money and still living out another 20, because our life expectancy is getting longer now. So I always want to have some types of funds. Now, I don't want to go right to the French fries or mopping the floor. Maybe I can come in as maybe an assistant manager, because I think I have enough skills that could take me to that level.
Well, for me, I've always been a people person, so being in an environment, and I like being around the young people so I can keep up with the culture to see what they're doing. So I could see myself working at fast food, just, to keep myself like alert and lively.
Yes, and keep you fit and moving and active.
Moving all the time.
I never even thought about that, because the older you get, you do want a little bit more companionship, and it is nice to be around people that you can communicate with and learn from.
Yeah, and
because
it becomes a family.
You're never too old to learn, and these young kids can teach us a lot.
That is true. And I think also, I like your point where it's about the reason you're doing it.
Yes.
Because I think as people age, different kinds of issues come up. And I know certainly there's a lot of loss and things like that. And so they're looking to sort of have some structure in their lives, get out, have some companionship. There's so many reasons that people seek jobs when they're older. And so where you go, I guess, is kind of personal, but I don't know, it's that uber.
I know in a lot of senior centers, they do a lot of brain games to keep your brain alert. And it seems like working keeps you alert in a lot of different areas, and especially depending on what position you take in the fast food. But just to keep you engaged. It helps you to stay, young.
Yes.
Because we're all looking to stay young.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Now, I'm not sure if the French fries are going to help with that.
Yeah, the fries are
maybe
going to
not.
help with that. But the fast food places are doing a lot of healthy side dishes now, salads and fruits and things like that. So
I'm there.
that also
You're making
helps.
me hungry.
That also helps with our diet. But I know several people who have gone into retirement, and though they did not like the job that they were doing, they miss working. They miss that everyday hustle and bustle of getting up and having purpose. They miss that. So I know people who go back sometime part-time, and it may not be a long committed period like their original job, but they do go back and maybe test a little bit here and test a little bit there. And that's the beauty too in retirement. You can kind of fill out some things that you've always wanted to do and didn't have an opportunity to do because you're working full-time and taking care of bills and children and things of that nature. So it's nice to get back out. And maybe that fast food will lead you to something else. You never know what'll happen, but putting yourself out there, I think, is the most important thing.
Yeah. Actually, they're talking a lot about people who are, I think they call it unretiring. And because they go home and they find out that they're just feeling too bored.
Exactly.
There's nothing to do, there's nobody to talk to, and they don't feel that sense of purpose that they're looking for.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And in addition to working fast food or wherever they may choose to end up, people are looking to get out, retire, Get some exercise and work, and those things will help. It'll help you to keep your muscles strong, keep your bones healthy. You're getting out and you're being active. So that's another thing to look at as well.
I find a lot of people that I speak with, they say, it just brought them more purpose in life. Because like one of the things you said, like you dip your foot in retirement and you're like, oh, I can't wait to kick my heels back, and you kick your heels back, and after a couple of months you're like, okay, I need to do something now. What can I do to bring some kind of action back in my life? And it just ended up like, I know so many people that have retired and have gone back to a job they retired from part-time or something smaller than what they were actually doing. Just for that purpose.
My mother was a perfect example of that. She worked as a social worker for years, and she thought that she was really done with that. And when it was time for her to retire, she was ready to go. But then once she retired, she was calling us every day. What are you doing? I'm working. So then she went back to work. She did something with a teacher. She did it part-time as a substitute because she's always wanted to do that. She fulfilled that purpose. And then she did some office work. And she fulfilled a little bit of that where it wasn't so much responsibility as her full-time job. And she seemed to really appreciate the fact that she can do that. So she was the type of person who needed to do something more. Retirement was not the end of her life. That wasn't her sit back and watch TV years. It did not work out for her in that way. So retirement too soon may be kind of a downfall, would you say?
I think so. My mother actually, since you brought up your mom, I'll bring up my mom as well. But she went back and actually did work in fast food. She worked at Subway for a while. And it's really interesting because she very quickly elevated to like a management position, and she felt really good about herself.
Yeah, just like Bloomberg says.
Just like Bloomberg
we have soft skills, a friendly demeanor, and punctuality. Those skills are
priceless.
Yes. Now, speaking of working during retirement, joining us after the break is financial consultant ready to tell us some tips about filing taxes after 50. We'll be right back.
And we're back, just off the heels of tax season. We have a financial consultant here with us today, Ron Williford. Thank you for coming. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here today.
So tell us more about yourself.
My name is Ron Williford, as you had mentioned. I'm the president and founder of Philadelphia Financial Consultants. And what we are, we're an investment financial planning firm. Also, we do a little bit of taxes every now and then.
So a quick question there for you, Ron. Are you specializing mostly with the elderly population, or are you kind of working with everybody?
Well, my focus is the elderly, those age 50, do a lot of retirement planning, Social Security planning, and also what I call tax planning. It's more than just preparing taxes, it's getting people ready for taxes and putting together some type of plan so that they don't owe too much or they don't owe too little.
I need to talk to you when this is over.
So I just want to know, what are the tax breaks available for people over 50 or over 65?
Well, I'll start with the first part of that question. For someone over age 50, if you're contributing to your 401k or your 403b or any type of retirement plan, the current law allows you to put extra money in. And because you're able to put that extra money in, you can actually reduce your taxable salary. So that by reducing your taxable salary, that means you pay less in taxes.
Okay.
Now, for someone over age 65, what the Trump administration did, they changed the current tax law so that if you're over age 65, the standard deduction has been increased. For someone, typically the standard deduction is $12,000. If you're over age 65, the standard deduction is now $1,300 and some change.
Okay.
13,000 and some change. If you're a married couple, it's $24,000. If you're married and both of you are over age 65, then now it's 26,000 and some change. So what that does, you don't have to itemize like you used to in the past. It's going to reduce immediately your taxable salary.
Great.
So your adjusted gross income is going to be less.
Okay.
So Ron, I think a lot of people get confused about what is better. Is it better to file, if you're married, is it better to file married but filing singly, or married and filing together? Does that make a difference in terms of?
In most cases, it depends, as I say, on your situation. In most cases, it's best to file married filing joint. The reason is you're going to lose a lot of the exemptions and itemized deductions that you would have if you didn't.
I see.
For example, let's say you had student loan interest. If you file marriage filing separate, you can't deduct that student loan interest anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, especially look at the situation with student loans and what's going on in the economy now.
Yes.
If that's something you might want to be able to deduct. And then every situation is different, depends on the individual. It also depends on if you itemize. So I mean, there's a lot of factors. So one general answer doesn't solve everything.
Right.
Okay, so is that something as a financial advisor that you help people decide?
Right, exactly. What we do, we sit down, we look, like we just finished this past year, so right now we're looking at preparing for next year. So what I do, I look at all scenarios. We'll look at a scenario filing joint, we'll look at filing separate, and then we look at all your situations and circumstances. So what's the best way for you to file?
So Ron, I just wanted to know, as we get older, looking into retirement,
Right.
and we didn't prepare for retirement, and slowly waiting on our Social Security or whatever the government is going to give us, what is a way that someone, say in their 60s, who's looking to retire at 65 or 67 or 72, we're working longer now, what is a way that they can start preparing for their retirement years if they've done nothing thus far?
Well, what I typically recommend to folks is, personally, I don't plan to retire, so what I tell people that maybe haven't prepared is start looking for that side hustle. What within you can you do when you retire?
Okay.
You might be a great singer, so put together a singing career, or maybe go teach someone how to sing, and then charge them a fee, and then there's some additional income.
I watched a family who, when the child was born, when their children were first born, they put away $20 a week.
Right.
So by the time that their children got to college, their whole college tuition was paid for.
Right.
So I thought there was a good plan.
Right.
Okay. So going into our retirement years, say 65 to our demise.
Okay. Probably got another 20 years left.
Yeah, another 20 years.
Right, yeah.
So what should be our monthly income, or do you have any idea what a monthly income should be? Someone living moderately, not riches, but just taking care of day-to-day responsibilities.
Well, see, the first thing you got to do is put together a budget.
Yeah.
Find out what your needs are. I mean, just to tell you that you're going to need $3,000
Yes.
per month,
Yeah.
that might not be the case. Also, you take a look at how simplified can my life become.
Yes.
You no longer have to go to work.
Right.
You no longer have to buy lunch.
Yes.
You no longer have to commute every day back and forth to work. So you look, how simplified can my life be? And you kind of dummy down your life.
Okay.
So that you live below your means.
Yes.
And then it should work for you. And then you decide on what do you really like out of life. Because it's about life too.
Yes, it is.
You retire and the first thing is, what do I do next?
Yes.
And then you just pray and something will happen.
So Ron, are you finding then that some of the seniors that you're working with are in fact like working at fast food restaurants and things like that?
Yes. You want fries with that chick? But I mean, a lot of people are actually starting to discover themselves. I've been a master painter all these years. Now I've set up a business where I can go paint little kids. Face painting. You just got to think of things that what you've been gifted with. How can you now parlay that in a side hustle?
Yes.
You mentioned living below your means. What kind of conversations do you have with people as a financial consultant to tell them to, like, okay, now you have to start living beyond your means, because people are so used to living one way their entire lives, and things are going to change. Like, what do you tell people?
Well, the first thing I tell them, I say that Joneses are still working. You're not working. So you can't keep up with the Joneses.
Okay.
And, instead of going to buy that Mercedes, go buy a Chevy. It's going to, you just want to get from point A to point B. You don't have to impress anybody, but live within where, you feel comfortable. A lot of things when you're working in society kind of dictates what you consider to be successful. For me, even, I'm still working, but for me, success means my eyes open that day. And I thank the Lord for that, and then you move from there. And I mean, you just try to keep it as simple as you can. It may mean you stop eating meat, you just eat vegetables now. Because for one thing, it's cheaper to eat the vegetables, and also it's better for your health. So you got to change your lifestyle. It's a matter of changing lifestyles as well.
So when families come in and talk to you, you're almost like a psychologist and preacher, finances.
I got to bring the couch out sometimes. Lay over here, I'll be right back to you.
Okay.
No, I think it's more than just money.
Yes.
And money's about how we view money. Money's just a tool.
Yes.
So when you understand that money's just a tool, you work around that.
It's beautiful. Ron, I know some people are kind of concerned about what's going to happen to their money after they're not here anymore. And I think there's something called an estate tax. Is that correct?
Right. If it's your spouse, you pay nothing. But you want to start planning that right away. Now, I'm not an attorney, so I can't give, of course, legal advice. But you want to start maybe your accounts with your husband, make them joint accounts, so that if either one of you were to die, it just transferred to the other person. And it's sitting down just doing some smart things, making sure that, you may have a mortgage on the house, you may need to review your life insurance, making sure you have enough, making sure that you can cover some of the things where there might be some missing gaps.
Right. And if you happen to be the last one of the couple to be living, and you're thinking about your children, I know in England they have a thing where if you transfer your possessions to your children 7 years prior to your death, they don't have to pay tax. Is that true in the United States as well?
I never heard of that
Never
one.
heard of that one. All
Heard of
right.
that one.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
your
We all got to
children will
move to
pay.
England, I guess, right?
Yeah, your children will pay less of an estate tax
Okay.
or inheritance tax, but they got to pay something.
They do.
Unfortunately, we have this guy we call Uncle Sam,
Gotcha.
Yes.
and Uncle Sam wants to get his. So, there's no missing anything.
So before you get out of here, I just wanted to ask, do you point families or individuals towards stock? Does your financial consulting go in that direction?
It depends on the individual. We
Okay.
do what's called a risk analysis. You might. My typical question is, if the market goes down 20%, what are you going to do? If you say, I don't want to lose any money, then I know that you need to be in something that's going to be conservative. But if you said, oh, I don't care, I'll just ride the wave, then I know you probably need to be more aggressive. So it all depends on the individual.
Well, it sounds like you cover a lot of things in your financial consulting, which is absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
Ron, thank you so much for joining us. You truly were very informative.
Thank
It's
you.
wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
Wonderful.
Appreciate it.
Thank
No
you.
problem. So we have been talking a lot about retirement, and even if you're not thinking about retiring, you might be thinking about developing a hobby. Our next guest, Wesley Hatton Jr., did just that. When we come back, we're going to talk to Wesley, we're going to see some of the work that he's done, and we're going to talk about the miracle of self-discovery. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We have today in the studio Wesley Hatton Jr., who is an artist and found just recently that he can draw. Wesley, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you discovered that you're an artist.
Basically for a profession, I'm a law enforcement officer.
Ooh.
So that is my profession, but my gift is art. Basically, I've always had a passion for it. I didn't realize I had the skill until I was about 10 years old, because prior to that, I could not draw.
Mm-hmm.
Went to bed one night, woke up, and was able to draw. So, I was excited, spoke to my mother about it, and she said it's a gift.
Wow, that really is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And so have you been doing it straight through from age 10?
Doing it up until a certain time, then I would go away from it and then get back to it and do it again. And that's recently, about a year ago, I decided to really focus on it more and kind of look at it more than just a hobby, but to take the talent and actually do something with it.
That's a
Now, do you have specific things that you like to draw?
No, it's whatever I feel at that moment. I mean, what I like to do, what I started out doing, which is drawing comic covers. And then I started going to draw people. I started painting. So I found out I could paint.
Yes.
Before I didn't do it, I just tried it and it came out right. So I'm like, okay.
Now, we're looking at one of your pieces here of the farm. Now, where did you get this inspiration from to do the painting?
It was just something in my mind. I thought about it. My dad was raised on a farm. And so I decided, visualizing that as a kid, what it was like, and I decided to paint a farm.
Okay. So did you have any specific hobbies before you started drawing?
No, I mean, collected comics, that was it. Junior high school, elementary school, things of that nature. But no, I used to envy people who did draw. I used to sit there and, wow, I wish I could do that. I couldn't draw a stick figure.
Okay.
So.
Well, something sure happened. Something changed.
Yeah, something happened, as my mom said, it was God's gift. Woke up the next day and picked the comic and just said, well, let me just see. And I started drawing it. And as I started drawing it, I'm looking like, oh, this is looking like the same thing.
Yeah.
And it actually came out exactly the same.
Wow. Well, see, I have to be honest and say that when I heard you were going to be on the show, I took a peek at your work on the internet, and I saw that, let's see, you do some of the superheroes, and then you did a football player, and I believe you did a civil rights leader. Is that true?
I did Huey Newton.
Yes, okay.
The Black Panthers.
Yes.
And one of the reasons I'm in a fraternity, and he's in one of our fraternity brothers.
Okay.
And so I was inspired, I was looking at some pictures of him. And I just was inspired to actually just draw it. And then behind the picture, put our Greek letters for our fraternity.
Excellent, really cool. So, and I know that you said you're in the law enforcement, so I was wondering, do you have a thing about sort of heroes? Because they're all heroes, the football player,
No, I never really thought about that till you said it. I mean, that's what stood out to me. That was my favorite comics growing up, with heroes, and it just happened I got in that profession. I don't look at myself as a hero. It's just something that I do. But
well, we all think you're a hero.
Yeah. So do you look at everyday life as inspiration as well?
I mean, anything at any moment could hit me where I say, you know what, I want to draw that. I might wake up and say, well, today I want to do a comic figure. I may wake up and see like the moon in the sky at night or something and say, you know what, let me try that. I kind of set in my mind what I want to do and then go and actually do it. And it may change. I may think on Monday, well, I'm going to draw a superhero. Tuesday, I might say, well, you know what, I'm going to draw a football player. So it's whatever it is at that moment.
Okay.
So.
Wesley, would you want to share some of your artwork with the world? I see you brought your book.
Sure. We spoke about superheroes, so.
Wow, look at this.
This is this was a variation of Thor. It was in one of the comics, so I actually decided to do that because I felt that way that day.
Yes.
And so I decided to do a picture of. This
Wait, you
gentleman.
mean you felt like Thor that day?
When I woke up, I was just, again, was thinking about something powerful. More spiritual, it's God of Thunder. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just draw that. And so I decided to do it.
So when you come home at the end of your days and you've seen some of the things that go on in the city, some, not so positive, does that inspire you to?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes, and that could inspire me to draw like I'm a Batman fan, and so I might do something, you know, in regards to that, or, you know, kind of translate what I was feeling into a character at that moment.
Excellent.
You know,
Excellent.
somebody did something to a child, like, well, you know, Batman, throw him off a roof. So I might draw that.
Okay.
You know, just because that was something inspired that, you know, he's a hero, but he also has a dark side.
So this is artwork is almost like an outlet too, dealing with that high pressure job or career.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Let's see what else you have.
This one I did was The Shadow. Man of mystery, but, you know, he struck fear in criminals' hearts.
Yes.
And so I felt, well, you know what, let me do that. So I decided to draw The Shadow.
So did you have any formal training? Did you ever go to any time? This is excellent.
No, my degree in college is in graphic and fine arts.
Okay.
I went to college for that, but I already had the gift prior to going to college.
Yes.
So I never had any formal training or anything. It's just, I just started doing it,
Okay.
you know, and then attempt to keep perfecting it.
Yes.
Wow. I'm
Do
sorry.
you have a particular media that you like to work with over others? Because I noticed like this is painting, and the picture before was marker, and this looked like maybe pencil. You really like pencil?
I like pencil with ink and like color crayon. You know,
Okay.
painting I like, but I seem to really, this is what I gravitate towards.
Nice.
So Wesley, what would you tell the seniors that might be watching in terms of developing a hobby? Like, what has it done for you?
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Yeah, I mean, if it's something that whatever you like to do, do it. You know, don't let anything hold you back from doing what you like to do. Whatever gives you peace of mind. If it's drawing, if it's playing cards, if it's checkers, whatever it is, just do it.
Now, do you see this as your second career after retirement?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I have some goals in mind that I have
Yes. Yes.
for it. I have some goals.
Good for you. You going to share those goals, or that's a secret?
Well, when I was in junior high, I actually submitted an artwork to Marvel Comics.
Oh, wow.
And they actually sent me a letter back, which was very good. They told me just to tighten up on some of my areas and my lines and things. So my goal one day is to go back to Marvel Comics and say, look at what I've done. Thanks for the inspiration. I mean, I'm glad they took the time to even send me a letter back.
Beautiful.
And so, yeah, one day I plan on to get in that area as well.
Well, I think that you can do it. So, your pencil is great. Your painting is great. You're great.
Thank you.
You have the thumbs up from everybody here.
Thank you.
We thank you for joining us today in the studio, Wesley. We really appreciate all the time that you took
Okay.
in showing us your gifts.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, we're out of time. So we want to thank all our guests today. We want to thank you for watching, and be sure to look us up on our website if you have any questions about our guests that we had today. We thank you for joining us with Better with Age.